It was like the movies, surreal. The two military men in uniform, the chaplain, and they came to my door.
They had told my mom that my uncle had died. I was kind of shocked and didn't really know what to think. My uncle was the best male role model that I've ever had.
You know, you're really numb to it. You're kind of in an alternate reality for the first several months. One day I was in my grief and I went in to my son's room and I started cleaning his room. And I found this notebook and I opened it up and it was all these drawings, every single page of my son and my brother. It was him and his uncle. And I at that moment, I go, oh my gosh, my son's grieving. I've been stuck in my own grief and I didn't even realize that, my little 8-year-old was grieving. And so I went to my therapist and I told her, and the following week, she gave me this flyer for the Children's Grief Center.
My uncle was the first death that I had ever really understood. You can imagine being confused as an 8-year-old. What a confusing time and all the mixed emotions that I was feeling, especially not knowing how to control those emotions. So I didn't really know what I was feeling at the time. I was very nervous to go in the first time. I told my mom I didn't want to do it, but I'll do it once just to make her happy. And so I walked in the first time and I think I almost started crying walking in the door because I was just so scared, because I didn't know what to expect from the other people that were there. And as soon as we got into the group, I started to calm down and collect myself because I understood that there were actually other people there who knew what I was going through.
When I was 13, my dad died by suicide. He had struggled with his own mental health for a long time. In his mind, the best way for him to be there for my sister and I was to not be there. I felt a little bit of relief, and I felt a lot of guilt for feeling that relief. I felt a lot of anger. I felt a lot of sadness, and I felt abandoned and kind of mad at the world. My mom brought my sister and I to the grief center. There were kids in there with me that had really wonderful parents that they loved, just kind of simply and wholly, that had died of illness. And I remember feeling a lot of jealousy and resentment for those kids, because it's like they get to kind of just have this grief that felt simple to me. But I did appreciate that we were able to talk about those nuances beyond just kind of sadness, because, like in our culture, once someone is dead, we're not allowed to say anything negative about them, even if we're feeling it. So it was nice to have that available to me. Not that that's all I wanted to do, but that I had that freedom to be angry and confused. We all die, and what the Grief Center can help us do is to deal with our grief and our loss in a healthy way, and give us the skill set and the language to be able to articulate our hurt and to turn it into something that helps, not just hurts.
She was my oldest daughter. They had a blowout in their vehicle. I said, "She's gone, isn't she?" And she said, "Well, I didn't want to tell you over the phone, but..."
She's always someone to look up to. Couldn't really grasp what was happening. It took a long time for me to realize what was going on. I would never see my sister again.
I just didn't even know how to move forward. And you quickly find out that other people avoid you, they don't know what to say, or they say crazy things, and so they don't want to say anything at all. And you see somebody coming down the grocery aisle and they beat it around the corner, and it's just really hard. So I went back to work about 2 weeks after she died, because I just needed to do something. I needed to function. The distraction was really helpful, but I knew that I couldn't do that forever. So I needed to find a way to just not get over this. You never get over it, but just to learn to live with it. I needed to try something. And the Children's Grief Center, it was great. From the very first time, I just felt like I was in the right place.
I was very nervous. I didn't know really what it was or what they would do for me, but I remember making a lot of friends. And that was I think the most important part for me, because the people there knew what I was going through, because they were also going through it. And they were also a bunch of children as well. So it was an opportunity for us to all feel like kids again. And that's what the Children's Grief Center has been. It was really helpful. I think that grief and death are things that people really don't like talking about or addressing just in everyday society. It's very hard to deal with by yourself. And without a support system or a group or a place to go, you can really spiral down into the depths of the abyss, right? And find yourself further than rock bottom. And so having a place like this to go to is exceptionally important for people that need support, for people that need to feel sane again.
My sweetheart of many, many years passed away unexpectedly. And then shortly thereafter, 6 months later, my mom passed. The Grief Center, they were my lifeline. What I was going through was something I had never been through before. I couldn't drive. I couldn't talk. I was mute. I was in shock. And at that point, I was interested in anything that would help me breathe. The moment I walked in, I felt safe. I felt warm. I felt I belonged. There was support. I had a soft place to fall. The Grief Center now is not just for children, it's for adults as well. I'm very grateful to the Grief Center helping me take it one day at a time. El camino, the road, the journey, it's not an easy one. I now realize that this is my life. I am driving now, and I took my first cross-country trip. Okay, I went to Phoenix. Well, okay, then I went a few miles. But I can drive now, and I can actually laugh. And I have discovered I have a wicked sense of humor. So those are the bright things that I've developed.